Hi, my name's Kate Sargent from the Department of Primary Industries. I'm the Evergraze project leader. Today I'm going to show you how to use the feed budget and rotation planner to work out how many hectares you need to allocate to lambing ewes. So we need to go to data entry. Now previously in the how long will my paddock last example, I explained what each of these feed budgets and I also explained how to work out how much feed you've got, etc. Today I'm just going to do a quick job, so we're just going to focus on how many hectares do I need for my lambing ewes. Okay, now I have a previous example in here, so I'm just going to delete those values. Okay, so we start again. Now the current food on offer, I'm going to be lambing in August, so I think I'm going to have at that time around 1,000 kilos per hectare. Now, the desired food on offer when I take the stock out of the paddock, well, these animals need about 1,000 kilos to maintain themselves, and my pasture needs about 800 kilos per hectare to persist. So I don't want to graze it any lower than 800, and preferably I'd like to keep it at 1,000. So I'm going to put 1,000 kilos there. The pasture quality needs to be, well, it is going to be around 75% digestibility and 10.8 megajoules metabolizable energy per kilo. So it's green, it's growing, and I've got about 15 to 30% clover, so I'm going to select 75%. Now, the wastage factor is always a good question. Basically, the wastage factor is determined by how much trampling, fouling, etc. you get from the animals being in the paddock. And you can actually get a little bit of wastage as well if you've got very low stocking rates when you get high levels of leaf death, etc., when the pastures aren't being utilised. But if you've got very wet paddocks or you've got heavy stocking rates, it's generally higher. Now, I'm going to use about 30% because that's pretty common and my stock density is not going to be that high. So my decay wastage factor is irrelevant because it's only useful for late spring and summer. The pasture growth rate, you really should understand a little bit about your pasture growth rate by measuring it from month to month on your own farm. However, Table 7 does provide a little bit of a guide. So we're going to be in August. I've got good pastures. This little table is useful for southern Australia in the temperate areas, and this pasture is good. So 45 kilos per hectare per day is probably not too far off the mark. Now, making more from sheep has a good guide as to what kind of pasture growth rates you can expect in different regions. So go and visit that website if you need some more information. Okay, so my pasture growth rate I said was 45 kilos per hectare per day. The number of days I want to leave the animals in the paddock, well, I joined them for 42 days, so I need to leave them in the paddock probably for 42 days for lambing. So I'm going to stick that number in there. Okay, so here we've got some options for our stock types. We're only going to have one stock type today. They're going to be our ewes. So ewes, and they're crossbreds, so they're 60 kilos, and they are lactating. And the number of animals I have grazing in this paddock is a single lambing mob, and they are 300 in size. So the total area required to graze these ewes is 20.4 hectares. So this gives us a little bit of an idea as to how many paddocks, or not how many paddocks as such, but how big the paddocks need to be for each of our lambing ewe mobs, and also how much feed we might need on offer. So let me just show you what happens if I increase this feed. I've built a bit of a feed wedge by August, and it's 1,500 kilos instead of 1,000 kilos, and we've got a difference here of the number of hectares that we actually need is 17 hectares instead of the 25. So that just gives you some idea. You can have a play with this table to work out your lambing paddocks, allocate different sizes of mobs to each of your paddocks, etc. And hopefully that's helpful. So if you're interested in finding out more information, go to the Evergraze website on www.evergraze.com.au. You can also download this calculator there. Thank you very much.